Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, as you can see, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon where I talk about the movies, TV shows, I don't know, what have you. If it's related to Disney in any shape or form, then yes, of course I'll talk about it. I just want to do this real quick here, so it's gonna be one of these like news kind of videos, what do you want to call this, I guess. So anyway, it's Moana. More specifically, they made the bold claim that breaking news: Moana is the first transgender princess. Like, okay, that kind of me off guard. Like, when did this happen? This is new to me. I haven't seen Moana in the movie theater, and I saw it again after the fact, of course, like a few more times. Even though I really don't care for repeats, even if the movie's good. But that aside, I'm thinking none of this was ever mentioned or even hinted at within the confines of the movie. So when I saw this, I'm like, where is anyone getting this from exactly? I don't understand. Like, where? The movie didn't state it. The people who made the movie didn't state the script writers, the director, so on and so forth. Nobody brought it up, really. And I saw this post right here, breaking news, the whole past princess. The Walt Disney company is putting inclusive activity at the top of its agenda. I mean, okay, what agenda? I don't know what agenda you're talking about. But anyway, so it's just stating that they want to appeal to more people who don't watch the movies over parents and children. Like, okay, this is so I don't. Why does it have to be just inclusive to children? I don't understand that. Grown-ups can watch. I mean, I know there's a whole stigma if adults want to watch Disney movies, but that's like a whole other video on its own. But anyway, this is why they have furry days, and I don't know when that was a thing either, but okay. Men can wear Disney princess outfits. Again, people, I mean, okay, we see men cross-dressing princess all the time anyway, so that's nothing new to me. And then that statement makes a statement that an Elsa marrying a woman in Frozen 3. Again, when was that ever a thing? I don't know. People have been making claims that this one, Elsa being a lesbian, even in the second movie, and that never happened. And it just comes up, people are just jumping the gun again here. Anyway, Disney allegedly is taking the most boldest approach yet by making Moana be the first ever transgendered princess. Like, since when? The movie Moana is still all about Moana overcoming many challenges. However, in the movie, she is always struggling to find out, understand her identity. She screams to the audience to the song "How Far I Go." Like what? How did that song "How Far I Go" scream about her gender identity? I mean, yes, she wants to find out who she is. She wants to become her own person, yes, but that's not in relation to her gender identity. In case anyone is wondering, I found this over here, which this article here, which was published in 2023, which was what, a year ago? And first time I've heard of this, I was just trying to do some research on my own to discuss something, princess related and the LGBT and whatnot. But how can you be screaming about, yeah, we can find more high ground when in reality there's a whole thing of fear of the foreigner? Yeah, that's still a thing.
No.
Give them a sustainable society. Technology, the Japanese, they have wonderful creative imaginations, and sometimes their wonders are a little off track. They're on the forefront of making robotic women, robotic mates that you can program, so you don't have to deal with a relationship.
It's interesting. Somehow pagan states survived without the benefit of the Western materialistic, technological, desexualized, dehumanized, derelationalized, existentialistic lifestyle of Jean Paul Sartre. Wow, that was a big statement. But
that 3 times fast.
Oh man, I don't even remember what I just said. But we exported this thing to them, and they wanted it. They bought it, hook, line, and sinker. And the end result was the breakdown of the Japanese family, the breakdown of fatherhood, the breakdown of society as a social structure. And I think right now, according to the UK Guardian, the big problem is the breakdown of sexuality, which did come through some of this technology. And Dave, you know what? We're getting the same stuff. 61% of young men 18 to 35 years of age not interested in getting married. 61% out in Japan not interested in getting married. Do you think that's going to affect our boys, Dave? Imagine 61% of the boys in your church not willing to get married to the young ladies in the church because they've been dehumanized and derelationalized by their technology. Imagine that.
Well, the fruits of that are hard to imagine. It's so horrific. Not only would you just not have boys who are not taking dominion, don't have a helpmeet to take dominion, but you'd have a whole bunch of bitter girls. And
you talk about a sterile, boring, derelationalized world. I mean, this is death.
But we have Facebook.
This is the death of a culture, Dave. Yeah, and you can, I walked into a restaurant and there were 3 or 4 girls sitting around a table all texting somebody else. Maybe they're texting each other. I don't know.
Maybe they were just putting the picture of themselves up on their little Yelp account. I'm here, and this is my food. I'm putting that on Facebook, and so they're having these meaningful relationships in this virtual online world.
It's the death of meaning, the death of purpose, the death of relationships. This is total death, friends. This is the death of society. And ladies and gentlemen, Dave just gave me this off air. Do you understand that just a month ago in September, we had the largest single entertainment rollout in the world? The largest single entertainment rollout ever in the history of technology, in the history of electronic entertainment, in the history of any kind of entertainment, in the history of the Roman games, in the history of 6,000 years of running out and entertaining ourselves to death. We have the largest single entertainment rollout in the world, and it turns out that it was Grand Theft Auto 5.
Bigger than the Super Bowl, yes.
$1 billion in one weekend. That's right. I did not say $1 million. I said $1 billion. Some of you said, I thought he was going to say $1 trillion. No, that's going to be like 10 years from now. No, it was $1 billion in one weekend.
That's called Grand Theft Obamacare. We're not going there.
Yeah, exactly. That's coming.
Of course, this was not the only time where someone religious spoke about something nonsensical about Japan. We all know Japan is prone to those earthquakes and whatnot. And someone else, obviously, wants to do like a whole prayer thing for the Japanese, even though the vast majority aren't Christian. But here we go.
But what others have been promoting, what I've been promoting, what I've been encouraging and calling on the church to do is to pray for a Japanese Pentecost. To pray once again for the outpouring of the Spirit as He did over 100 years ago. And it changed the entire face of South Korea. It changed the face of North Korea. And now there are believers underground still there, worshiping God in danger and fear, but still as a result of that revival. Will you pray for a Japanese Pentecost? Will you pray for God to so pour out His Spirit upon my missionary friends and others like them that hundreds and thousands will be swept into the kingdom? Do you have this vision of God's beloved servant? The one He upholds, the one He's chosen, the one He's anointed for the task. If we're to have this missions propelling vision, then we must not only see that He is God's beloved servant, but we must see that He is also God's gentle servant. Look at verse 2 with me. He will not cry aloud or lift up His voice or make it heard in the street. A bruised reed He will not break, and a faintly burning wick He will not quench. He will faithfully bring forth justice. Isaiah emphasizes the gentleness of this servant in two ways. First of all, he's gentle in his tone. How do earthly monarchs exercise their rule and authority? They do it with loud commands. They do it by a show of their raw authority and power. How does Jesus exercise His kingly rule? Through the persuasive power of His truth and through His compassion and love. He's gentle in His tone. Coming to the sinner, coming perhaps to someone here this evening, saying, Are you weary? Are you just worn out with that life of sin you're living? Just come to me. I've got rest for you. I've got forgiveness. I've got peace. I have joy. But he's not only gentle in his tone, you'll see here that he's gentle in his manner. Verse 3 must be one of my most favorite verses in all of the prophecy of Isaiah. A bruised reed he will not break, and
so instead of doing all that talking, blah, 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 why can't you just go over there literally right now before... Matter of fact, don't do this video. He did this recording of this thing, of course. Why can't he just go over there? I mean, this guy in the video. Why can't he just go over there to Japan and help them out instead of just praying it away? And of course, again, I do find it kind of weird that he would say something like this in this regard, because many of these individuals have got fear of the foreigner.
You know, a bruised reed isn't worth much.
When you're running a country, what you really need is raw material. Any raw materials would do. Okay, maybe not any of them, but still, you need to do some kind of good stuff, obviously. So why can't you take those raw material to them to help them out? Or, matter of fact, ask God to magically make them appear, since God himself had no issue doing that, because according to their belief system, God just made Earth out of nothing. He just worded into existence. Poof. If you wanted a cat, you could just say cat and there you go. If he wants a dog, when I say him, God, of course. If God wants a dog, poof, there's a dog. So why can't he just do the same thing to raw material? And this pastor, minister, whatever you can call it, this individual also brings up people who are depressed, of course. And yes, Japan is also known for people having a truck ton of people for being depressed. And you know what that could lead to, self-harm and whatnot. And this individual goes on to say, oh, you just need Jesus. That's it. That's all you need. Just pray for the oppressed. That sounds so insensitive right there. I mean, I don't want this to be the entire video, obviously. I'm just putting it out there. Just giving you the sense that the sense of morality is not already there. You can't just pray away self-harm. You can't just pray away depression. That's not how that works whatsoever, like at all. None of this makes any sense. So yes, even this makes no sense whatsoever. Like, going back to this, like, what's your evidence behind this? So, in case anyone is wondering, apparently it is female to male. So, Moana wants to be a he? When was this a thing? What was the indication for this kind of a thing to ever occur? So when I mean Moana is a prince and not a princess, can't even get the pronouns right. But anyway, point being is that allegedly they got the information from the Mousetrap News, which also showed the story on TikTok. Oh yeah, that's where you get all the good information from, TikTok, sure. And trying to claim that this can be a bold move from Disney. It's gonna be a controversial thing. There was some comments regarding this topic matter when it comes to a specific video for criticizing Disney for an alleged plot line or express hope that the rumor about Moana not being true. It's a controversial thing, I guess you can say. But again, there's nothing to back this up, though. This claim isn't necessarily true. And what I'm trying to get at is, like, where are you getting this from exactly? Like, what is this? A lot of people are just looking too much at something that's not there, is what I'm getting at here. I don't get it. So, what is a Mousetrap News? The Mousetrap News is the world's best satire site. And trying to write fake news and whatnot about Disney park stuff. So, I try to tell me that this is supposed to be a joke or something and whatnot. But they were saying on its site, the Mousetrap News page described itself as a satire and to make believe for your enjoyment and whatnot. And it's supposed to be this kind of thing where just making stuff up. And it's right, there's no evidence to support this. And the article I showed you also say that there's no evidence of a sequel to Moana, even though there is a sequel that's already been in production for quite a while. So that's a lie. So I don't get it. But I mean, there's already been this kind of thing where you've been talking about this kind of thing, like it's actually going to happen or whatnot. I don't get it. It just seems kind of weird that this is a thing here, folks. So there's that. I just thought I'd discuss this because you know damn well that people will believe every word of this. You know, people would go on and just go off the hinges. And of course, there are religious people who already have a hate boner towards the Disney princess already, which yes, I've discovered before. I've discussed quite a few times before, and they don't listen to like that. And it's not that Disney can have a sense of humor, which they do, but that's the thing though. A lot of these religious people can't take a joke, and that's the thing. A lot of these people, a lot of the religious people can't seem to take a joke whatsoever. And I mean, yes, there are all gay people, there are lesbians who are working with Disney when it comes to animations. I don't know how many who are doing this, but I guess it's enough that people would take notice, of course. And yes, a lot of these individuals will just joke about how they make fun of the woke culture. I mean, you don't have to necessarily be a part of the woke culture to support the LGBT plus community, of course. The point being is that a lot of the gay employees have made a joke about that. They would just make their own humor about that kind of thing. And a lot of these religious people would just take that out of context and make it as if that it's true that they're being oppressed. Just a mere mention or the possibility of maybe, okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be Moana. Just even if someone was making a joke out of it, even if someone's just playing around, these religious people would just take it to the extreme. And to be clear here, I personally don't mind it if Moana was trans, whether it was male to female or female. It doesn't matter. I'm like whatever about it. Sure, if they want to do that, but that's kind of besides the point, really. But just a mere mention, even if it's a slight possibility that this could actually be a thing, just in any shape or form, these people just lose their mind. The religious people, of course. The religious people we already had a hate boner towards Disney anyway. They really, I think I already made my point clear is that whether this was a joke or not, either way, these religious people just take it to the extreme. Even if there's a slight chance there was maybe some truth in there somewhere, maybe at some point, maybe Disney does want a trans princess or a trans prince. They would lose their shit anyway, regardless. They would just lose their mind. Like somehow there's an evil agenda going on here, apparently, because you can't seem to take hold that, hey, trans people do exist. Trans people just want to be accepted in the gender that they prefer. This individual that would claim that trans people or trans men or whatnot, just the trans community as a whole, are like the locusts, I guess, from the Bible. And yes, I know this in some ways referring to the Old Testament. I know the Old Testament had used this whole thing with the firstborn being sacrificed and all that jazz. And yes, of course, I can as if being trans, that in itself is somehow is a mental disorder. Like they're doing some kind of disguise to be deceive and just lie through their teeth. And acting as if that's why the trans people would be doing their thing. And the locusts would be causing a bunch of mayhem or whatnot. Again, I don't know where this individual's getting this from. Of course, just all this mumbo jumbo. I'm just trying to show you just what I'm referring to. Even if Disney really want to be serious about including a trans character, male to female, female to male, people like this would just take it out of context and act as if there was some kind of thing going on behind closed doors, is what I'm getting at. So I'll just show this for a brief moment. Not all of it, but just a chunk of it anyway.
He has no physical problems, no mental problems, no spiritual problems. And he wouldn't change places with any of us. He would not come back. As much as he loves his family, as much as, Carrie misses him and he would miss Carrie, he wouldn't come back if he could because of the joy that's set before him for all eternity. So Revelation 9:1, the fifth angel sounded, I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. So the first thing you look at is the star it mentions, and then it says he in verse 2, so it gives a personal pronoun or personification of the star, meaning that it probably is an angel. Many times in the Bible, when you look at the star, they're angels. It'll tell you, it'll differentiate between the two and tell you which is which. Is the star an angel? Is the star a real star? 1/3 of the stars are going to be cast down to the earth. Now think about that. One star would totally decimate the whole earth. So 1/3 of the stars is likely in that context 1/3 of the angels. And you'll see that the designation representing an angel is in Revelation 1:20. So if you want to go ahead and look over there at Revelation chapter 1, verse 20, let me just define this for you. The mystery of the 7 stars in Revelation 1:20, which thou sawest in his right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks, the 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches. So you see that's where star can be identified as an angel. I just wanted to give that to you. We've already studied it, but just a little bit of a refresher, or maybe you weren't here. But again, the angel that we're talking about, because it's a he, and by the way, all angels are male. There are no female angels in the Bible. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that means there are none that exist. It just means that in the Bible, every time an angel shows up, he shows up as a man. Well, how do you know that? When Abraham, had the angels show up, they look like men. And by the way, they don't have wings. Angels do not have wings. Seraphim have wings. Angels do not. So one of the hard times I've had in doing these illustrations is making sure that I get the pictures right where they don't have wings. So we're looking at, he has the key of the bottomless pit. Hell has gates to it. Hell has doors to it. Matthew 16:18 talks about the gates of hell. The gates of hell. Job 38:17 talks about the doors of the shadow of death. Hell has an entry point and an exit point. Doesn't mean anybody's going to get out of there, but when they open the bottomless pit, then the locusts are going to come up. Doesn't mean anybody else will be escaped. In fact, if you look at it at the end, the Bible says there's going to be a chain put on Lucifer at the end. Why would he have to have a chain? Well, because maybe he needs to be chained and gated in. Because he's Lucifer, because he's powerful. And then God's going to take that chain off at the end of the 1,000 years. He's going to be loosed for a season, going to deceive the nations. We'll see that in Revelation chapter 20, 21, and so forth. We're just in Revelation 9 right now. So hell has bars, according to Jonah 2, verses 1 through 6. Let's see, since you're in Revelation 1, or you were a minute ago, look at Revelation 1:18. We're talking about these keys. When it's talking about Jesus Christ in Revelation 1:18, he says, I am he that liveth and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore, amen, and have the keys of hell and of death. So Jesus has the keys of hell and death. I was asked not long ago, did Jesus go to hell? Acts chapter 2, my soul will not be left in hell, the Bible says. Why would Jesus go to hell? He didn't go to hell to suffer because on the cross he said it is finished. The payment was made. He wasn't going to be punished in hell, but he died and went into the lower parts of the earth according to Ephesians chapter 3. Lower parts at that time were hell, a great gulf, and Abraham's bosom or paradise in the heart of the earth. And then the Bible says hell hath enlarged herself because paradise is not in the heart of the earth. But he might have gone down there in order to get the keys to death and hell.
All right, then, like I was saying, I was not going to show the whole thing of that. But personally, I wouldn't mind if they had a trans princess, but I don't know if that would have gone over well with people. I'm pretty sure they won't whatsoever, because I know a lot of people out there would just get all high and mighty with some nonsense and would just complain that, oh no, it's gone woke and whatnot and all that bullshit. Because when you think about trans people, have been around a lot longer than they would think. But of course, they're not going to make any sense anyway when you think about it. But there you go, I reckon. Anyway, that'll be it for now, folks. I know I said this was going to be quick, but I just dragged this out a little bit. I know. I'm going to show you how I personally don't mind if Moana, if they were actually serious about that, I wouldn't mind it really. Is what I'm getting at. I'll be for it. I mean, it doesn't have to be Moana. Just make their own character from scratch, start from scratch, really. Sure, if they want to do that, by all means, go for it. Is what I'm saying. Go for it. Sure, why not? If you can care, all we care about is a good story, good representation too, of course. But ultimately, we all need a good story. Anyway, I guess that'll be it for now, folks. I just want to discuss this for a good moment, really. Anyway, bottom line, yes, of course, there's still could be quite a bit more about this when you think about it. There still could be more when it comes to this kinds of stuff, of course. I know representation is important. I make it be done well. I mean, there's a lot more I can talk about this, really. And there's quite a bit more I can discuss this. I guess I could always say for another video, really. But anyway, that'll be it for now, folks. So as always, thanks for watching, and take care. Until next time, see ya. Oh yeah.